When we talk about aging, one of the most emotional and difficult conversations we must face is where we will live when we are no longer able to care for ourselves entirely. For many families, the default answer has long been the nursing home. It offers round-the-clock care, regular meals, and a structured environment. But while nursing homes may provide a level of safety and medical supervision, they often come at the cost of something deeply human: our freedom, our comfort, our sense of belonging, that quiet, warm feeling of being home. As a doctor who has worked with seniors for over 3 decades, I have seen firsthand how important those things are. And thankfully, nursing homes are not the only option. There are better solutions. Options that support independence, choices that give comfort, familiarity, and dignity. And most importantly, places and systems that allow people to age with grace in an environment that respects the whole person, not just the body, but the mind, the memories, and the soul. What I want to share with you today are 5 powerful alternatives to nursing homes, each one supported by research, real experiences, and the voices of those who have lived them. The first alternative that truly deserves your attention is aging in place with home care support. This simply means staying in your own home, the one filled with decades of laughter, family photos, and morning sunlight streaming through familiar windows, but with trained caregivers who come to assist you with what you need. Whether it is help with bathing, preparing meals, managing medications, or companionship, home care services have grown rapidly in both quality and availability. A study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society showed that seniors who age in place report higher life satisfaction and reduced hospitalization rates compared to those in institutional care. And why wouldn't they? Imagine being able to wake up in your own bed, eat your favorite breakfast in your kitchen, sit in the garden you planted. These aren't just comforts, they are lifelines. Home care also allows you to maintain control over your daily routines. You decide when to wake up, when to nap, when to have visitors. That autonomy alone significantly reduces the risk of depression and cognitive decline. I have had patients in their 80s and even 90s who thrived longer simply because they stayed in their own space, surrounded by what they loved, with just the right amount of assistance. Now, the second alternative is a beautiful and increasingly popular one. It is called co-housing or senior shared living. This is when a small group of older adults choose to live together, sharing a home or a set of homes, often with shared spaces like kitchens and gardens. It is not a facility, it is a chosen family, and it brings with it emotional warmth that no institution can replicate. Loneliness is one of the biggest killers of the elderly. It increases the risk of heart disease, stroke, dementia, and early death. A study in PLOS Medicine found that social isolation is as harmful to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. But in co-housing, loneliness has no room to grow. You live with people who look out for each other, people who share meals, play music together, and celebrate birthdays. It brings the emotional safety of community without the strict rules and rigidity of a nursing home. There are even intergenerational co-housing models, where older adults live with younger people in a balanced exchange of wisdom and support. The energy in such environments can bring about a visible change in vitality and outlook. I once visited a co-housing community where a group of 5 women in their 70s and 80s lived together. They called themselves the Silver Sisters. They gardened together, cooked together, took care of each other, and most importantly, they laughed, often, loudly. That kind of living is medicine no pill can match. The third alternative is known as assisted living communities. While some people confuse this with nursing homes, the reality is quite different. Assisted living facilities offer a more flexible, independent lifestyle. Residents have their own apartments or rooms. They come and go as they please. Meals are provided, along with activities, transportation, and light medical support. But the key is freedom. You're not confined to a bed or a schedule unless your condition absolutely requires it. According to a report from the National Center for Assisted Living, over 70% of residents in assisted living facilities report a better quality of life than before they moved in. That is a powerful statistic. These communities often feel more like resorts than institutions: walking paths, art classes, movie nights, and even book clubs. I once had a patient who moved into an assisted living community after her husband passed. She was hesitant at first, worried she'd feel boxed in. But what she found was a vibrant life, new friendships, morning Tai Chi in the courtyard, a sense of renewed purpose. She told me it felt like college in her 70s. That kind of joy matters deeply. The fourth alternative is adult foster care, sometimes called adult family homes. In this model, seniors live in a private home environment, usually with no more than 4 or 5 other residents. A trained caregiver lives on-site and provides care around the clock. But unlike a facility, everything about the environment is personal and intimate. You eat at a family table, you know your caregiver by name, you share a living room. The scale is small, and the relationships run deep. A study from the AARP Public Policy Institute highlighted that seniors in adult foster care showed higher satisfaction and emotional well-being than those in large nursing homes. I remember visiting one such home where the caregiver made fresh soups every evening. The residents would sit together at 6 o'clock, chat about their day, and even help chop vegetables if they felt up to it. That feeling of being in a home, not an institution, is so deeply healing. For those with mild to moderate care needs, this setting offers both security and belonging. The fifth and final option I want to share is something that has been growing in recent years: technology-supported independent living. With the rise of smart home devices, wearable medical monitors, and virtual health consultations, it is now more possible than ever for seniors to live independently, even with complex health needs. Devices can remind you to take your medicine. Smart sensors can detect if you've fallen and automatically alert emergency contacts. Virtual visits with your doctor can be done from your living room. According to a study by the Pew Research Center, over 50% of seniors are now comfortable using smartphones and tablets. This digital shift is opening up a whole new world of possibilities. One of my patients, an 84-year-old former school teacher, lives alone with the help of a health monitoring system and a weekly check-in from a nurse. She orders groceries online, video calls her grandchildren, and monitors her blood pressure through a small device that sends results directly to me. She is independent, safe, and proud. Technology, when used wisely, can be one of the most liberating forces for our older generation. When we talk about alternatives to nursing homes, we are really talking about preserving something much deeper than just where someone sleeps. We are talking about honoring identity, preserving routine, upholding dignity. Nursing homes will always have a place for those who truly need constant, high-level medical care. But for so many others, they are not the only or best path. The 5 options I've shared today, home care, co-housing, assisted living, adult foster care, and technology-supported independence, are all rooted in one powerful belief: that aging does not have to mean isolation or loss of self, that freedom and comfort are not luxuries but essential parts of health. The key is early planning, open conversations, and a willingness to imagine something better. If you are a senior or you love someone who is, take time to explore these options deeply. Visit communities, talk to people who live there, read the research, make the decision with your heart and your head. I say this not just as a doctor, but as someone who has seen too many lives dim too early because they were placed in a setting that did not honor who they were. You deserve more than safety. You deserve joy, familiarity, laughter, the feeling of being seen and heard and known. Whether that comes from staying in the house you built brick by brick, or living with others who greet you each morning with warmth, or being connected through the miracle of modern technology. What matters is that you choose the life that fits your spirit. So let's not settle for the old model of aging. Let's build new paths, paths where we are not merely cared for, but cherished, not merely housed, but held, not merely surviving, but living. That, to me, is what real elder care should look like. And that, I believe with all my heart, is possible for each and every one of us. What are the biggest mistakes families make when choosing elder care? When it comes to elder care, there is one truth I have learned over years of practice. The choices we make are never just medical. They are emotional. They are deeply human. Families often believe they are doing the right thing, and with love in their hearts, they move quickly to find care. But despite good intentions, I have seen too many families fall into the same quiet traps. Mistakes that cost more than money. They cost peace of mind. They steal time, they take away dignity, and most painfully, they leave people feeling like they are being managed rather than cared for. The biggest mistake I see is waiting too long to have the conversation. Families put off talking about elder care until there is a crisis, a fall, a hospitalization, a sudden change in memory or mood. And then, in panic, choices are made quickly, often without fully understanding what the elder wants or what kind of care is really needed. A study from the National Institute on Aging showed that over 70% of families facing elder care decisions did so during a medical emergency. This reactive approach leads to rushed decisions. People end up in facilities that do not align with their values, or worse, in places that strip away their independence. When the conversation starts early, the elder is still able to share their wishes. They can help guide the process. That sense of control is not just comforting, it is healing. It brings clarity, and it builds trust within the family. Another mistake that happens far too often is focusing only on medical needs. Of course, health is important, but it is not the whole story. I have seen families look at charts, medication lists, and blood pressure readings, but ignore the emotional and social needs of their loved one. Is the environment joyful? Are there opportunities for conversation, music, purpose? The Journal of Aging and Health published a study that found seniors who reported regular social interaction had a 30% lower risk of cognitive decline. But when families choose facilities or services that only meet the body's needs and forget the heart and mind, loneliness creeps in. And that kind of isolation has been proven to shorten life. It is not enough to just be clean, fed, and medicated. People need to be loved. They need laughter. They need familiarity. Elder care decisions should ask one deeper question. Will this place or person make my loved one feel alive? A third mistake is ignoring the elder's voice. I have sat in countless family meetings where adult children speak for the parent, where decisions are made around them, not with them. And I understand the instinct. It often comes from fear. But treating an aging parent like a child is deeply damaging. A study from the gerontologist found that older adults who felt they had no input in care decisions experienced significantly higher levels of depression. Respect matters. Even when someone's memory fades, even when the body weakens, they are still themselves. Their history, their stories, their wisdom, all of that remains. When families take the time to ask, to listen, and to include the elder in the decision-making process, the outcome is almost always better, not just in the quality of care, but in the strength of the relationship. I remember one family who brought their mother to tour every facility before making a decision. She picked one because the windows reminded her of her childhood home. That detail mattered, and she thrived. A fourth mistake is assuming one size fits all. Just because one neighbor's father did well in assisted living does not mean it will work for yours. Just because your friend's mother loves home care does not mean it is right for your family. Each elder is different. Their personality, their preferences, their medical profile, their emotional needs. A report from the National Alliance for Caregiving and AARP revealed that over 40% of caregivers admitted they felt unprepared for the level of personalization their loved one needed. Cookie-cutter solutions often fail. The key is to match the care with the person, not the other way around. Does your parent need routine, or do they crave spontaneity? Do they like being surrounded by people, or prefer quiet space? These questions matter more than what any brochure will tell you. You are not just choosing care, you are shaping daily life. The fifth mistake is underestimating the financial and emotional toll on the family caregiver. I cannot tell you how many daughters, sons, spouses, and even grandchildren have walked into my office exhausted, burned out, feeling guilty because they promised to take care of mom no matter what, but now feel they are drowning. The truth is, caregiving is a full-time job, often more than full-time. The Family Caregiver Alliance reports that over half of all family caregivers experience clinical levels of stress and anxiety. When families try to do it all alone without support, both the caregiver and the elder suffer. It is not weakness to ask for help. It is wisdom. Whether that means hiring part-time help, looking into adult day programs, or simply joining a support group, caregivers need care too. Burnout leads to resentment, illness, and strained relationships. The strongest caregivers are the ones who know when to lean on others. Another mistake I have seen is being seduced by appearance. A beautiful lobby, fresh flowers, polished furniture. But beauty does not always equal quality. I have walked through immaculate facilities where residents sit quietly, isolated, unseen. And I have been in modest homes where laughter echoes from room to room. A study from Health Affairs found that the presence of meaningful engagement activities, not aesthetics, was the strongest predictor of elder satisfaction in care settings. Do not be fooled by surface. Ask deeper questions. What is staff turnover like? Are there structured activities every day? How are residents involved in decision-making? Take time to observe. Visit at different hours. Talk to families who are already part of that community. Look for warmth, not just polish. Finally, one of the most heartbreaking mistakes is forgetting that change is constant. The right choice today might not be the right choice in 2 years, or even 6 months. I have seen families make a care decision and then hold on to it stubbornly, even when it no longer fits. Because changing feels like failure, but it is not. Aging is a journey. Needs evolve. Medical conditions progress. What once worked may become too much or too little. The best families are those that stay flexible, that continue to reassess with love and honesty. The best care plans are living plans. They grow with the person. So if you are making elder care decisions right now, pause, breathe. Know that it is okay to not have all the answers right away. But avoid these common mistakes. Start the conversation early. Look beyond the medical. Include the elder in every step. Personalize the solution. Support the caregiver. Look past appearances and stay open to change. Elder care is not just about safety or health. It is about honoring a lifetime. It is about dignity and love. When done right, it can be a deeply healing experience, not just for the one receiving care, but for the entire family. That is the kind of care we all deserve. And with intention, planning, and heart, it is absolutely possible.